There's a show that's currently airing right now that's been such a pleasant, delightful surprise. I feel compelled to come out here and just wiggle my finger and preach the gospel. But before doing that, I believe there is a prerequisite yap that's needed to set the table here. And it is a subject that has been milked more than the Fast and Furious franchise. This is a topic that it's been discussed a billion times. It's more worn out than your grandpappy's crusty socks. Game of Thrones. There has never been a franchise, or property really, as big as Game of Thrones that has had such a colossal fuck up and an unfathomable fumble that it completely ruined its cultural footprint. For a decade, basically, Game of Thrones was a cultural juggernaut. And then season 8 rolled around and it was so catastrophic, so abominable that it ruined the entirety of the show and its identity in societal, mainstream conversation. Now, whenever Game of Thrones gets brought up, it's usually followed by a sigh, remembering how great it was and then how it all fell flat and was ruined. Since season 8, there has been another show that spun off in the Game of Thrones universe called House of the Dragon. The first season, I really liked. A lot of people really liked it. The second season, quite a bit of a fall off. Pretty disappointing, but it's not, completely in the gutter or anything. Season 3 could bring it back and save it. But overall, people's attitude when you take a temperature when it comes to Game of Thrones is not overly positive given what the IP has been through on, the screen. So when I heard that there was a new Game of Thrones a new Game of Thrones show set in this universe, I was apprehensive but willing to, give it a chance. And I'm glad I did. It's called A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. It's currently airing. There's 4 episodes. It is so good. It reminds me so strongly of the glory days of Game of Thrones, the early seasons. It follows the adventure of Sir Duncan the Tall and his squire Egg as he tries to make a name for himself. He wants to live up to the ideal of being a knight in a time where maybe knights aren't exactly all that chivalrous. So far, the show has just been a masterclass in getting you to care about its characters. It does such a good job at getting you invested. We are watching this guy who, by all accounts so far, has just been like a pretty stand-up guy. Sometimes he can be pretty strict because that's how he was raised, and he was raised to be a good man, and now he's on his journey to try and be the knight that he's always dreamt of. It is captivating, and the sets are beautiful. The sets, the costuming, all of it feels like early Game of Thrones. It feels so good. Obviously, since the show is still airing, I'm avoiding spoilers, and since the show is still airing, there is a chance that this just nosedives, just fucking spirals down the shitter here in quality, but I'm optimistic that it won't. This show has incredible momentum right now. The most recent episode was genuinely incredible. So I'm confident, cautiously optimistic, I guess is a better way of phrasing it, that the show will continue to stay this good. I think the next episode could be, one for the books. I'm very excited. Now, it's not just Sir Duncan the Tall that you'll care about, though I do think he is the big standout here, but everyone that surrounds him is also a very interesting character as well, most notably Baelor. Baelor just got introduced 2 episodes ago, and I think he's fucking awesome. I'm really excited to see more of Baelor Targaryen now. And of course, his squire Egg is a very interesting character as well. Can't really talk too much about Egg because that would probably get into spoiler territory. But pretty much everyone Sir Duncan meets is someone that is not just some flat throwaway character that's used as a stepping stone to heighten your investment into Sir Duncan, which would be an extremely easy thing to do, where, these characters are just, one-dimensional, and Sir Duncan's there to contrast the show, this is what a good man actually looks like. Those are just evil, boo, boo, boo. But they're actually complex characters that surround him that are very interesting in their own right. I'm just very impressed with the character work they've done in only 4 episodes. And I'm so excited to see how it progresses. Like I said, I think the upcoming episode has a chance to be some of the best in Game of Thrones. And I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of glaze for episode 4. Apparently it's got like a 9.7 or something right now. It lives up to the hype. I really do recommend this show, and I know a lot of people probably have like, a bit of hesitation, a bit skeptical because of, being burned in the past with Game of Thrones. I think this one is worth giving a shot. I really do think so. I put it off for a while too. I forgot this show started airing until I was streaming and chat kept telling me like, Charles, this is really good. You gotta get in there watching it. And they were right. I don't read the Game of Thrones books. I am not familiar with the books that this one is based on. But from what I understand, this is like a very faithful adaptation of George R.R. Martin's work here. And from the little bits and pieces that I've read about this show, they've learned some lessons from previous Game of Thrones shenanigans. And this time around, from what I've read, one of their big focuses, like one of the big things they wanted to stick on, was being faithful to the source material and breathe life into that, as opposed to, trying to carve their own path outside of it where it starts to conflict with what was already being established, which is what we saw with Game of Thrones Season 8 and what we've also seen with House of the Dragon Season 2. So this one, if you're a fan of the books, is apparently very, very close to just the books here. And it's working really well. Perhaps that's the secret formula. Maybe that's the secret sauce, if you can imagine that. If you're going to adapt something, maybe be faithful to the source material, at least to some extent, right? So I wanted to throw that in there. But the main thing is I just kind of wanted to yap about this to put it on people's radars for anyone that, liked Game of Thrones until the end, which I think was most people. I think this one's definitely worth giving a try. Hopefully I don't look like a fucking fool by the time this season wraps up, like if it does get shitty. I don't think it will. I really think it's in such a good spot right now. It has such good momentum. So I just wanted to highly recommend it to everyone out there. Now, something else I really want to mention. This show is only 6 episodes long, and the episodes are 30 to 40 minutes each. So it's not like a ton of content. I was shocked that these weren't hour-long episodes. That's become kind of the norm, like an hour or close to an hour runtime per episode. These are on the shorter side for sure. But they don't feel short. When you watch an episode, you feel like you get like a full tummy, like you eat a full meal. But they are 30 to 40 minutes. They just do an incredible job of utilizing every fucking second of screen time. But still, there is only 6 episodes, which feels like it's going to be really short. And it's just going to leave me and everyone else wanting more, and it's going to be a while for more to come out. So, gonna be a bit of waiting there. So I just kind of want to mention that it's not like a long show. It's only 6 episodes. So anyway, so far it's been great. That's really about it. See ya.